This is Andy, and today is Sunday. And you're wondering, Andy, where's your blazer? Where's your white shirt? What's going on? I thought we got a process. Today's lesson is those of you who really want to kill it, preparation is everything. So sometimes I think it's important you take a few minutes on Sunday or in the evening to prep for the next day so that you can hit the ground running. Otherwise, you show up on Mondays and you're like, oh, what do I got to do? Right? You're just like drowning the entire time. But all right, that set aside, that's lesson one. Get prepared early. Lesson two, you guys know appointment setting is a critical part of your process. Critical, right? If you can't meet the people, can't sell them your shit. So, did I say shit? Sorry. Stuff, service, fantastic things. Two, here we go. So you want to increase the ratio of showing up. So we're going to cover that in a couple different ways. One, things you do while you're setting the meeting, when you're talking to them, your language, the things you say and the things you follow up on. Two, how to do the pre-follow-up on the meeting, right? Today, everyone just sends a calendar and forgets. And then lastly, determining which type of meeting or appointment you have. Sometimes better to cancel. Sometimes better to show up, even when you know they're not going to. So we'll talk about which ways make the most sense. All right, here we go. Part one. Boop. When you're on the phone and you're talking to them and they've agreed to the appointment, a couple of things you should do. One, watch your language. People hate meetings. People hate appointments, right? Think of it this way. Your boss calls you and says, oh, I want to have a meeting. You're like, oh, I hate that. Second, what about appointments? What do most people go to appointments for? The dentist, the doctor, right? To get their car repaired, right? Appointments suck. Nobody likes appointments. Nobody likes appointments. Nobody likes appointments. So you can set quick visit, quick chat, lots of different ways that you can use to talk about it. Hey, when we're going to have our quick chat, our quick visit, people are very fancy now. Discovery call, right? Hey, I'd like to get you into discovery for a few minutes. So many different ways you can talk about it. Just try and get away from the meetings and appointments. People hate those, so don't do those. All right. Now, part two. You're talking to them. They've agreed on the time. First, make sure you agree on the time. Hey, John, what do you think about 3:45 next week on Tuesday? Does that work for you? John says, yes, that works. You go, fantastic. 3:45 next Tuesday. Fantastic. I'll send it out. Make sure you get agreement on the time. Also, another interesting thing. Think about if you know your meetings are 15, 20 minutes as opposed to like an entire hour block, don't set them on the hours, right? 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Hey, if you know you only need 15 minutes, set it at 9:45. It gives you the ability when you're chatting with them, be like, hey, this quick discovery call will be super fast, 15 minutes. How about this? I've got a bunch of stuff going on next Tuesday at like around 10. Why don't we do it at 9:45? We'll be in, we'll be out, and then we'll be able to move on. 9:45, 10:15, right? Pick these times, right? Because if you pick an hour at 9 or 10, they're going to think it's going to be what? An hour. If you pick at 10:30, they think it's going to be what? 30 minutes, right? If you pick it at 9:45, they think it's going to be what? 15 minutes. Now, if the meeting makes sense for them, they're going to run it longer, right? They're probably going to leave room in their calendar, but this is a little bit disarming. So unless your discovery call requires a full hour, requires a huge amount of time, book it on odd time frames, 9:15, 9:45. 10:15, 10:45, right? Unless you really need a good solid hour or more to get what you need done. And we'll talk about that in the two types of meetings. Okay, part three. Pre-meeting follow-up. So a couple of days before the appointment, you know you've sent the calendar. They're going to get it. They're going to get automated notifications, but nobody reads those. Everybody deletes those. I recommend personalize the follow-up. Couple different ways, right? Several days before, send them a follow-up email. right? And if you're a good salesperson, right, you've got a CRM, you're tracking that they're receiving and opening those emails, right? You want to make sure that they're doing that. Think about different subject lines that you could use to get their attention. Our discussion regarding new clients. Wednesday's discussion about reducing your losses. Friday strategy discussion. Agenda for our Tuesday chat with my CEO, right? Make the subject lines appear that you're already engaged in the process. They've already agreed to this meeting, right? And it's a reminder. And then in the subject line of your email, or sorry, not in the subject line, in the body of your email, make sure you put in a small agenda, right? Hey, we're going to introduce ourselves. Second, we're going to understand your current needs. Then we're going to give you a quick presentation, right? And then we'll close for next steps, right? Just set the framework so they don't feel like they're going into like a 2-hour presentation, right? Give it framework. Also, I think video is fantastic today. So you could send your follow-ups in Loom, in Vidyard. You'd be like, hey, John, this is Andy. Hey, just wanted to introduce myself. I know we hadn't met yet. Hey, I look forward to talking to you on Thursday. Here's what we're going to cover. Bang, 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 bang. Other tools. Hey, you guys have got text? Text. People love to work in text. Send them a text. Right? Same thing in that text, subject line. Hey, regarding our meeting, upcoming visit, regarding our upcoming chat, regarding our upcoming discovery, right? Put those things in chat. All right. Now, you sent the calendar, you sent the follow-up, and they're just ghosting you, right? You left a voicemail, they're ghosting you. Think about your resources. So when you're going to a discovery call, are your resources super tied up? For example, you're actually going to bring the CEO for your company or the company that you're representing. If that person shows up to 2-3 meetings in a row and you have no shows, they're going to be like, right? You're out of there, right? They don't want any of that. So you need to find out for your client and who you're selling for. How important is it, right? That you get 100% or 99% certainty that they're going to get somebody to show up. And if they're like, hey, we're super busy, I don't have time for this, then it's fine, right? It's fine to cancel the meetings if the person's completely ghosting you. So here's what I do. Someone who hasn't responded to your original request, haven't responded to your text, maybe the day of or the day before, right? All caps in the subject line or in your text message, all caps, canceling our call tomorrow, ? Or maybe same day, canceling our call today, ? And then just put in there, hey, John, I hadn't heard from you. I also saw that you didn't accept the appointment. I know how busy you are, so I totally understand. I didn't want to waste your time or ours. Let's reschedule this. Or if I'm missing something, let me know, ? Or if you can still make it, let me know, ? Right? It's a good idea to send those confirmations. Better to just take it off, man. Better to take it off. And then you'll call them again and you'll be like, hey, usually they'll be apologetic. All right, take it off. So just remember this. If you need other people to do your discovery call and you think it's going to be canceled or they're going to be a potential no-show because they're not responding in LinkedIn, they're not responding in email, they didn't respond to your text, better to take it off. Okay? 2, if discovery resources is not a problem, or maybe this is a meeting for yourself, right? Just a refresher meeting for them and yourself, a visit with them. I'm a great believer that most business people are respectful. They are, because especially if they're business leaders, they're people who make decisions. If they weren't, they probably wouldn't be in those positions very long, right? Or their business wouldn't be so very successful. So because they're reasonable, I'm okay. Schedule the meeting, do your follow-up. As long as you know that when you were talking to them, they agreed when you were on the phone, right? And you're not making this up. You're not throwing out the tentative calendar. Hey, can I just throw you a calendar? As long as you're not doing that, then play for the guilt, right? And here's the deal, right? You're in the meeting. They're supposed to be there. They didn't show up, right? You text them, you call them, you email them. Hey, I'm in the meeting, John. Hey, I brought my CEO. Hey, I brought insert important person, whomever. Hey, we'll wait a few more minutes to see if you can make it. Otherwise, I guess we'll need to reschedule. Totally fine. This is called playing for the guilt, because now they're business people, right? They're going to be feeling somewhat guilty. And if they don't feel guilty, you probably don't want them as a goddamn client, right? Jesus Christ. Who wants somebody who's like, well, screw you, I don't give a shit, waste all your time. Most people will feel bad. If they agreed, they will reschedule for you the next time. And when they do it, two things will happen. One, they'll be super respectful and they'll give you a lot more time. Two, they'll apologize, so they're going to listen better. And three, they'll send you an apology email, right? Because you sent an email. Hey, I'm so sorry we missed you. I brought my CEO. Hey, I'm so sorry I brought the team of whatever. They'll respond with you usually with I'm sorry. And that's also good for you because you can give that to your boss who was like, why do you schedule these crappy things? You'd be like, hey man, it was scheduled. Right, here's proof. So a lot of different ways that you can deal with that. All right. So to recap, hey, setting appointments is great, but if people don't show up, you know what it's worth? That's right. It's worth that. So one, make sure they confirm when you're talking to them. There's a couple different ways to do that we talked about. Make sure they agree on the time. Ask them this question. Hey, is there anyone else I should invite besides you for our visit next Thursday at 1:00? Right? You asking them if there's anyone else they should invite gets them thinking into, is this am I really going to show this appointment or am I just trying to get this person off the phone? Okay. All right. So that is it for today. Two things to remember. One, maybe working on Sunday is not the worst thing in the world because now my money is going to be way more effective. Two, appointments that people don't show up to are worth. So let's figure out let's increase the show up ratio. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks for playing Andy's Sunday Sales.